All right, so I'm Indian River County Sheriff Eric Flowers, here to speak about Saturday's shooting. We're in the beginning stages of an active, ongoing investigation. Today we're releasing body camera footage in an effort to be transparent. We're also releasing body camera footage to combat some of the false narratives that exist on social media. I want to reiterate that all of this entire incident could have been avoided had Jamal Frederick listened to the deputies, their instructions to not touch the gun. The second he armed himself, he changed the scenario. These deputies are out there making split-second decisions during a traffic stop on the side of the road at night when others are in the comforts of their own home. They make these decisions based on information they know at the time. So what did they know at the time? They knew that the folks that were in this vehicle were suspects in burglaries around our county. They knew how they were dressed. When they opened the door, they could see into the vehicle. A hot June night, Jamal Frederick is wearing a black hoodie with his hood up over his head. They know that this particular vehicle had been identified as being involved in a shots fired call just hours before this traffic stop. They were looking for this vehicle. They knew that it was a suspect vehicle in weapons and in burglaries. This crew that we stopped this night, they were countywide burglars. We recovered 2 stolen guns, one which Jamal Frederick grabbed before the shooting incident occurred. The second was found inside of the car when we conducted a search warrant on Sunday morning. Both guns can be seen on the video that we are releasing. We put a picture up there so you can see the guns we're talking about. One gun was stolen from South Vero. The other was stolen from Fellsmere. These guys are countywide criminals. We will not tolerate these known felons endangering our community. Our community expects us to prevent crimes and keep them safe. When we receive the reports of the shots fired call from a densely populated area in Gifford, we take that very seriously. There are good people of Gifford who are tired of the nonsense. There are people from around our county who are tired of being victims of burglaries. Our team was out there doing their job, monitoring these criminals, and they encountered a guy who refused to listen to their commands, chose to arm himself, and who was ultimately shot. We don't know what we prevented Saturday night. But what I do know is that we recovered 2 stolen weapons and we took 2 felons, dangerous criminals, off the streets. Think about this. The 2 subjects arrested are 18 and 19 years old. They both managed to become convicted felons in the last year or two as our courts have been down due to COVID. That's the type of crimes that these guys have been up to. Again, this is an active investigation. We will be speaking with the deputies involved later this week and hope to have more information as a result of those interviews. I'm sure you have plenty of questions. I'm sure you're going to ask me some things that I'm not going to be able to answer yet because we have not talked to those deputies yet. So I'll give you the best I can. I'm going to take a few questions and that's it.
Sheriff Flowers, take on the WPTV.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any evidence, or if you see the video, did the suspect ever point the gun at the victim?
So body camera, let's talk about body camera. When I bought these body cameras, I made this statement. It's great, it's transparent, it does a wonderful thing for the community. The NFL spends millions of dollars putting cameras up in stadiums, and yet there are many times where they can't tell if the ball crossed the line. In this video, do you see him pointing the gun? No. There's nothing in the video that we're going to release that shows him pointing the gun. I don't know what the deputies saw. There's specific incidents that we know that happened. We know that as he aggressively grabbed the gun to run away, the first question is, why was the gun so important? Why did he need to take that gun with him? Why didn't he just run? If he wanted to flee from our deputies, why not just run, right? He chose to take that gun with him. He chose to arm himself. You see him in the video transitioning the gun from his left hand to his right hand. You see him turning back to face our deputies. You can't, unfortunately, because of the distance, because of the darkness, see everything that happened. Not only was there the initial incident where he grabbed the gun, there's a second incident where our deputies pursue him into the darkness, where he continues to not listen to their commands, and based on what we know at this time, raise the gun, continue to manipulate the gun, not listen to them, where a second volley of shots are fired. So to answer your question, is there a spot on the video? No, there's not a spot on the video. But we are still very early in this investigation, and we still have to talk to those deputies to see what they saw in the darkness that you can't necessarily see on these limited view cameras.
After the guy grabbed the gun in the back seat, fled on foot, that's the 19-year-old?
Yes, Jamal Frederick.
Jamal Frederick. Was he shot by deputies as he was running away from them?
So shots are fired as he's running away. There's no doubt about that. What you have to understand, though, is they know that this guy is a known burglar. They know that this guy has just aggressively armed himself. When he was told, do not touch this gun, we know that he's been involved in shooting incidents. The fact that reaction, will always lose to action every single time. As he's turning around, you can see that he begins to turn towards the deputies. I don't know what the deputies saw out there that night, but I can tell you we're going to talk to them, we're going to find out what they saw, and we'll continue to investigate this.
Could the shooting still be justified if he was running away from deputies?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
With all due respect, how is that possible?
This gentleman has grabbed this gun aggressively. He is running into the community where we've had shots fired, where we've had a homicide the day before, where we know that this guy is up to no good. He is, not listening to their commands. Absolutely, there's a scenario where it could be justified.
How many shots were fired?
There's a number of shots. I don't know exactly how many. That's not something that we've come up with yet. We're still working through that. We'll count the rounds from the range and from their magazines as well as the shell casings. But it was a number of shots that were fired out there.
And you said it's a dense area. Were you concerned? What is the response to NAACP about the concern about so many shots fired with such a dense area?
Absolutely. Our deputies definitely train for these types of scenarios. It's certainly a concern for me too. That we want to make sure that we're safe, but in this particular instance, you can see in the darkness that there's not houses right there on the side, so that their shots did not go into a house or anything like that. And so, yes, the area when I said densely populated is more where these guys were doing their shooting the night before, earlier that morning, where they were shooting. The particular stop where the traffic stop happens, it's actually an open field, and where they encounter him the second time, where he goes down, that's actually a pretty open area. There's some new construction there. There's nobody that's actually in that residence or anything.
Were the residents were in the farm?
No, not
There was a homicide about 2 blocks away earlier. Is there any connection between that situation and what you've done with?
At this point, I hope to give you an update on that other homicide in the near future. We're working with the family on that case as well. At this moment, I can't say there's any connection to it, but we're working to close that out, and I hope I can give you an update very soon. Between 4 and 6 times. He is still in the hospital. He will be transported back to the Indian River County Jail on his charges as soon as he is ready to be released from the hospital.
Do you return fire?
At this point, I can't say that. The gun will have to be processed. I don't know if he returned fire or not. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you being here today, and we'll give you an update on this case as we can.